So church, I want to introduce you to a good friend of ours. This is our friend Dee Dee Harp. Everybody say hi to Dee Dee.
Hi, Dee Dee.
Dee Dee, you want to say hi, everybody?
Hi, everybody.
Dee Dee is a wonderful woman. If you're on site, if you haven't met her before, if you've been here, you've seen her. Even if you didn't know it, you've seen her. Because her thumbprint is throughout the life of this church. You've seen her maybe at the connection point. You've seen her out in the crossing serving as a deacon. Maybe you've seen her over Common Ground serving coffee. Or maybe you were driving by during the week and you looked across the street and you saw her serving in the community garden. This is just who Dee Dee is. She is a servant. That's what she does. Dee Dee has been gracious enough to invite us into her story. And it's not an easy story. It's a difficult story. But it's a powerful one. It's a story of her journey through just immense grief. And as Dee Dee, as we were talking and visiting, learning more about your story, one of the scriptures that you mentioned, it was kind of an anchor for you, was Isaiah 41:10, and that connected with me. It was a passage that I used a couple weeks ago. I used it back in June of last year. And when I look at that, the things that jump out at me, because it's an anchor for me. Fear not, for I am with you. I am your God, I will help you, I'll uphold you with my righteous right hand, I've chosen you. I love that passage. It reminds me, regardless of what the world throws at me, whatever I find myself in, it doesn't matter what it is, that God chooses me, that God calls me friend, that God is with me, and that's why it's an anchor for me. So what about you, Dee Dee? Why is that scripture an anchor for you?
So, somewhat similar. Help be with me with my fear, because I had a lot of fears when I was first widowed, and give me strength and peace, and be with me, and help just be along my side all the way.
So Dee Dee has been so amazing in allowing us to kind of journey alongside her for a few glimpses into her life as she's had grief as a companion. So I know you're going to be just as blessed as we are.
Gives me a lot of joy to help people when they need help.
Okay, Dee Dee, so tell us how you and Austin met.
So we both worked at Cook Children's. I started there right after high school, and he was a nurse there. And so we met there and started dating. We were married over 30 years and a couple over 40. He was a very outgoing guy. He loved all kinds of sports. He loved to hunt. He was an RN at the Children's Hospital where he worked. He blew up the gloves and made them into balloons and put faces on them for the kids. He loved to make people happy. My mom started getting sick in 2012. She was diagnosed with cancer, and then she died in 2016. And then my nephew died suddenly in 2017. And then Austin was diagnosed with terminal cancer mid-year 2017. And he passed in 2019.
Dee Dee, that's a lot of loss.
3 and 35 months.
And these were three very important players in your life.
Yes.
Let's just go there for a second. What was that like immediately following the loss of Austin?
So lonely. I mean, I was used to having somebody to talk to every day.
Yeah.
And then just overwhelming loss.
Yeah.
It's like, everything that I've done for the last 40 years, I don't have him to do it with anymore. So
Yeah.
you just have to get through it at first. But then once all of that is over, it starts sinking in. It's like, okay, what am I gonna do today? What's my next step? And what am I gonna do? You've got lots of worries, financial worries, safety worries, because I hadn't lived alone in a long time. Just all kinds of worries, and you just start working through those.
And now you've made really intentional strides to kind of navigate your grief.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about some of the things that you started doing to kind of help you work through your grief.
Well, so I, before Austin died after my mother, I went to Grief Share because I really thought I was losing my mind. Because I was just foggy-brained after she passed away. And Grief Share helped me a lot and told me that was normal. And then we could be there with others in a safe place and talk about how we were feeling, what we were going through, what our worries and concerns were, and that was awesome. And so I had that background when Austin died, but I went back again because you just need to talk. You just need to talk. So I went back again. I started that about a month after he died, or maybe 6 weeks. Also did some budgeting classes later in the year to try to figure out finances, make sure, because you didn't have anybody to bounce that off of. So trying to make sure I had my bases covered. I knew there was the Women at Worth Sunday school class that meets on Sunday mornings. I knew there were several widows in there because I'd met them in Grief Share. So I went to that class and did Bible study with them and had lunch with them to fellowship. And then tried to reach out to other people that were widows as well, just to, how do you do this and how do you handle these concerns and things like that. So still, when you are thinking about your memories, you're happy about it, and then something will hit you all of a sudden, and you feel the loss again. And so you just have to go, no, devil, you're not going to make that feel bad. You'll get to see him again. There's hope there. So you just have to change that back around to gratitude that you had that relationship, and that the hope that you'll see him again.
Where do you find your joy today?
I think in serving. I have always served a lot, but my husband and my mother were sick for a while, and so I had a lot of caregiving, and I found a lot of joy in helping them. It gives me a lot of joy to help people when they need help.
Dee Dee, some of my favorite moments in that video is of you in the garden, because that's where you and Austin served together. And I just admire you so much, because even with the grief that you have carried, you have found this place as a safe place to figure things out. And Grief Share, you're leading a small group now. So I'd like to encourage any of you, if you do have grief in your life, let this be a safe place for you to feel the things that you don't want to feel, to confront the things that you don't want to confront. And if this doesn't feel like a safe place, there is a safe place for you. Let us help you find it. But God's taught us so much through your story. And those few minutes that we got to see, Dee Dee will be hanging out after service if you'd like to connect with her. But there's people in this room right now grieving. Maybe their grief is very fresh. Maybe their grief has been a companion of theirs for a long time. So for them, what would you say to them?
I would just say God is with you, and He will help you get through it.
God is with you.
Absolutely.
That's great advice, Dee Dee. Thank you so much. Can you give her a round of applause, please?